So now coming to the TDS portion, tax deducted at source. So TDS, as the name itself suggests, is the tax that you will be deducting at the source itself. This is a recovery mechanism by the government because people will never pay taxes. So that's why at the beginning only, at the source itself, they will recover. So the first one is what? 192. So generally everything, if we understand who's the payer, who's the payee, etc., then it will be easy. Of course, we'll do all the important areas, all the important TDS sections we'll do. So 192, payer is an employee, payee is a resident or non-resident. Rate will be slab rate, this is salary, that's why. So what all should the employer should consider what all in this? First, he should consider the house property, profit or loss, and then the income from other sources. Income will be considered, loss will not be considered. So if, for example, any employee's salary is 80,000 assume per month, 9,60,000, the employer only has to deduct the standard deduction of 50,000 and 9,10,000 will be your income, and then his total tax for that will be here after doing all the calculation including cess will be 98,280. So the employer has to deduct 98,280 divided by 12 every single month. So here the person who is deducting tax will be the employer. He is deducting on behalf of the employee. And the best part is if the employer doesn't deduct, he will be liable as a assessee in default. So it's a very dangerous provision for the employer. On the other hand, if you are, saying that, as I told you in the previous example, 7 lakh is my, in the example which we saw, in the salaries. If my salary is 7 lakh, 2 lakh is my non-monetary perquisite. And I say that I don't want to pay tax on non-monetary perquisite. I should compute the tax normally only, overall 9 lakh minus 50,000, 8.5 lakh. For 8.5 lakh, 85,800 is the tax. Now I told you I will not pay on this 2 lakhs. I will not pay on 2 lakhs is what the employee is saying. So for 8,50,000 salary, 85,800 is the tax. For 2 lakh rupees, what would be the tax? So for 2 lakh rupees tax would be 20,000 rupees 188. This 20,188 is borne and also paid by the employer. It is borne by the employer and paid by the employer also. So this amount of 20,188 is disallowed for the employer under PGBP, and for the employee it is exempt under 1010 CC, which we just saw now. And what should the employee take? Employer, how much will he deduct? 85,800 minus 20,188, because it's 20,188 fully they will only pay. Balance 65,612 divided by 12. So 5468 will be the deduction every single month. So that is all. And what if this fellow works in some cases he will work for 6 months somewhere and then goes to the other 6 months somewhere else. So when he is doing that for 6 months only, they would have taken into account the basic exemption limit, etc. So that again benefit will not be given to the next 6 months. So that is what you should calculate. What if I am deriving salary from both two sources? That is possible. Part-time, both part-time I am working. Both of them know that I am working part-time in 2 companies. It's not a case where I have lied to one company. In this case, I should take the basic exemption limit, give the details only in one company, because I cannot take basic exemption limit twice. So that is all the basic deal in 192. Then let us check the important ones. So many things are there in TDS. We'll just see the most important areas. Of course, first one is definitely 192, which we have seen. All that we have checked that. Yes. Then payment of accumulated balance in EPF to employee. This is an important section because it has been amended in Finance Act 2023, which means the last part ever this can come is November 20. Which part, that also I'll tell you. This is what I told you in RPF when we were discussing. I told you that you will, all the money that you are getting lump sum will be exempt if 4 conditions are satisfied. What are 4 conditions? You are continuous service of 5 years you have done, or you are exited before 5 years only because of your ill health, or because of your the closure of business. So, or other causes due to the, beyond the control of the employee. Now, premature withdrawal, has happened. That is still okay. But if any of for these reasons it is not happening and directly you have done a taxable premature withdrawal, then what happens? Then you will have to pay tax. That is less than 5 years you have taken a premature withdrawal, but you are not ill, you are fine only. And then you or the business of the SSC has not closed down, it's fine only, but you only left. Or you have not joined somewhere else and you have not shifted the balance there, then in that case it will be taxable. So that is the scene. If generally it is taxed at what time? At the time of payment only. At the time of payment. Generally TDS is deducted or rather paid at what time? It is deducted at the time of payment or credit, whichever is earlier. Either at the time of payment or credit, whichever is earlier, but some cases it is only on payment basis. One is salary. Salary is only at the time of payment, dividend, all these things, payment. TDS is always at a flat rate. There is no cess, no surcharge, etc. except salary for a non-resident. In salary for a non-resident, I will take into account, or even normal salary also, I will take into account the surcharge, etc. because I don't want the employee to pay again. Now, there is a general section. If you do not pay, if you do not furnish your PAN, then the tax rate will be 20%. But one big exception is 192A. If employee does not furnish the PAN, tax will be deducted under the maximum marginal rate, 42.74. Now, this has changed in Finance Act 23. What is the change and all? Let's not go there. But this 7th point, last time ever, it can come only in November 23. Right? They can ask an MCQ where if you don't furnish the PAN under 192A, then the tax will be, first will be double, they'll give 20%. Then they'll say double. Then they'll say 42.744%. So answer is 42.744%. For May 24 onwards, this will change. Yes, next is interest on security. Any person paying interest, and the payee here will be a resident person, rate will be 10%. This is the TDS on any interest. It says any interest on securities. So securities can be anything for that matter. That is your interest on debentures, interest on other securities, interest on government securities, etc. But TDS is not applicable for certain cases. That is, public company is giving interest on debentures to resident individual or HUF. If it is paying less than or equal to 5,000 by check, then no TDS. So they'll give you, they are paying 7,000 by check, TDS will come. They'll say 4,000 by cash, TDS will come. So it is less than or equal to 5,000 by check. Next, payment made to life insurance corporation, general insurance corporation, any insurance company. So if its payment is not made by, it is made to, mind you. And any dematerialized security, this will come. And government security, again MCQ question. Government security for state government or central government, TDS will not come except these two. 8% savings bond account, 7.75% savings taxable bond scheme account, where the interest is more than 10,000 rupees. Interest is more than 10,000, TDS will come. TDS will come. Then under 54 EC, if you remember in capital gain, we had deposited funds in some account called 54 EC. So that is only two cases there it will be exempt, no TDS. That is for capital gain bonds issued by Power Finance Corporation Limited and Indian Railway Finance Corporation Limited. So for Power Finance and Indian Railway Finance Corporation, it will not come. So those are some important areas. 92A we saw. 194 is your dividend. TDS on dividend. Earlier, dividend used to be dividend distribution tax. Corporate dividend tax used to be paid by a company, and then for employee it used to be exempt. Sorry, for the shareholder it used to be exempt. Now shareholder has to pay under 194. When I am distributing money to the shareholder, company only will deduct TDS under 194. Mind you, only if the dividend is more than 5,000. Dividend is less than 5,000, no TDS. Less than or equal to 5,000, no TDS, and it should not be paid by cash. And as we know, under 206 AA, if PAN is not furnished, then generally it is 10%, but if PAN is not furnished, 20%. 20%. (194A), any person other than individual or HUF, payee will be a resident person. Resident person. This payer of the interest. This is what, guys? Interest other than interest on securities. This will be interest on your recurring deposits, etc. This will be interest on your recurring deposits and fixed deposit and all these things. So here, generally, what is the rate? That's all okay. That is 10%, otherwise 20%, all that okay. But when will TDS not come? If it is paid by bank, cooperative society, post office, less than or equal to 40,000 rupees per annum per bank. This is for normal people. For resident senior citizen, less than or equal to 50,000 rupees per bank, per annum per bank. Mind you, it is not per branch, it is per bank. So all branches added. And if they say non-resident senior citizen, for him it is still 40K. Whether 50K limit is only for a resident senior citizen. In other cases, it is less than or equal to 5,000 rupees per annum, no TDS. Savings bank interest, no TDS irrespective of any amount. So which means this 194A is only for recurring deposit, fixed deposit, etc. Firm is paying interest on capital or interest on advance to a partner, no TDS. Interest paid to bank, cooperative society, finance corporation, LIC, no TDS, which means I am paying interest. I have taken a loan from bank. I am paying interest to bank. Will 194A come? Should I deduct? No. Minor where parents are deceased, TDS will be in the hands of the minor. This is also an interesting point. And now interest paid by income tax department on income tax refund. So refund they delayed, so they have to pay interest. Will there be TDS? No TDS. There will be no TDS. Then 194B is for lottery and crossword. 194BB will be for horse race. These cases, payer or payee. So TDS rate is given under this section, whereas chargeability is given under one more section called 115BB. So what is the rate given? 194B. How much is charged? When is it immediately deducted? That is given under 115BB. So payer or payee can be any person. Rate will be 30%. Only if the winnings is more than 10,000 rupees. If payee is a resident, then no cess. If payee is a non-resident, then cess at 4%. Plus applicable surcharge also will be there. Otherwise, generally TDS, no cess. Why will I charge cess for non-resident? Because I am paying the money, will never come back later. So that's why I should deduct the cess and surcharge. However, if I have received a BMW car in a lottery and the amount is 1 crore. Now I cannot, deduct TDS. I cannot give one steering, tire and all that. So what is the government telling? You collect from that fellow only. So you will say, sir, please pay 30 lakh, take the BMW car 1 crore. As simple as that. Or if it's a cash award and other thing, then they'll say, take the cash award fully, I will recover towards TDS. Extra amount you pay. That's what it is. So that is the entire thing. 194B and BB. So one more interesting thing in 194B and BB, if you see, this will also include, this is winning from lottery and crossword puzzle, okay. 194BB is for horse racing or for arranging for wager or betting in any race course. So there was confusion whether it included online games or no online games. So for online games, they made a separate section that is for Finance Act 23 onwards. So if they want to give online games, etc., this will still come under these things only, 194B and BB, because B will include lottery, crossword puzzle or other games of similar sort. So even online games will be like rummy, online rummy and all will be like online lottery in any other mode. So all that will come under 194B only for November 23 exam. For May 24 exam, they have already shifted the section with some other differences elsewhere. right? So for November 23 exam, online games will still come under 194B. Because 194B section says lottery or crossword puzzle or other game of similar sort. So online also will be similar sort only. So insurance commission, lottery, and all these things, ticket commission. 194D is insurance commission, 194G is lottery. That is, people in Kerala will sell lottery tickets. No, that commission if they are getting, that is 194G. So both similar concept only, 5%, but the commission should be more than 15,000 rupees per annum. 15,000 rupees per annum. Then on brokerage, commission on brokerage, any person other than individual or HUF, pay will be a resident person. Again, the rate will be 5%. It should be more than 15,000 per annum. Anyway, but the real deal is 194C, 194J, 194I, 194M. All those are important areas. That is what we'll cover now. 194C, TDS on contractors. Who is the payer? Any person other than individual or HF will be the considered as the payer. Pay will be any resident person. Pay will be any resident person. So, for example, if I am giving you a contract worth 1 lakh rupees, you are the contractor, I am the contractee. When the contractee is paying the money, you should deduct TDS and pay to the contractor. Rate will be for individual or HF it is 1%, for other persons it is 2%. TDS will be deducted either if the single contract exceeds 30,000 or aggregate contracts exceed 1 lakh. If it is like 30,000, 20,000, 20,000, 40,000, 25,000, 10,000 like that, overall it's exceeding 1 lakh. And the last payment time I will deduct for the entire year. Now, will 194C apply to, what do you say, individual and HF? Means if individual and HF hires a contractor, should he also pay? It depends on, he should be a big individual or HF. So, contractee, payer or deductor, individual plus HF. If the turnover or gross assets is less than or equal to 1 crore. So basically guys, here, very simple. If the deductor or payer or contractee is an individual or HF, we have to follow the chart now. If he is any other than individual like a company etc., then I should see the contract amount. Per contract more than 30k or aggregate more than 1 lakh. Now coming to individual HF, which is this chart we'll see. Now, if the turnover or gross assets is less than or equal to 1 crore or less than or equal to 50 lakhs in the profession, no TDS irrespective of the contract amount. In 194C it will not come. On the other hand, if the turnover or gross assets is more than 1 crore and or in case of profession it is 50 lakh more, then only 194C gets triggered. So will TDS provisions apply? Should the individual or HF deduct TDS? It depends on whether he is a big individual or a small individual. Who's a big individual whose turnover or gross assets is more than 1 CR and in case of business, or 50 lakh in case of profession. 194C gets triggered. Now it gets triggered, but I need to see if he is using it for personal purposes or if he is using for official purposes. Let's assume he is using it for official purposes. Like Virat Kohli is hiring a contractor. Is he a big individual? 100% yes. So he is hiring a contractor for official purposes. Single payment more than 30k, aggregate payment more than 1 lakh, 194C. Very simple. At what rate? 1% if that pay is an individual or 2% if the pay is other than an individual. So Virat Kohli is hiring, somebody for, let's say, some training of his calf muscles. He is hiring a trainer, official purpose. He is hiring an individual. How much is deducting? 1% he should deduct. He is paying them 12 lakhs per annum. How much should he deduct? 1%. But he is hiring a company where they will keep sending every day one trainer. So how much should he deduct? 22%. On the other hand, Virat Kohli hires an interior designer for his house. Right? Interior designer for his house. And he's paying them 20 lakh rupees for his entire, some one room, not even a house. One room, he wants an interior designer fully designing his interior, his one room, his, let's say, study, library he wants to design. He is given it to an interior designer. That female is charging 20 lakh rupees. Now, payment to a resident contractor per year, is it less than or equal to 50 lakhs? Yes. So, 194C also will not come. There's one more section, 194M, that also will not come. But if he is paying to a resident contractor per financial year more than 50 lakh, so Virat Kohli hires a interior designer for his room and paying 60 lakh rupees to that person. So then 194C will not come because it's personal purpose. But 194M will come. Another section, 194M, TDS will be at the rate of 5%. Now, what do you mean by contract? Contract can be contract of work, contract can work of labor, or it can be service. Service can be professional service, technical service, managerial service. Professional, technical, managerial service, etc. will not come under 194C, it will come under 194J. But as far as work and labor is concerned, it will include everything. Advertisement, it includes broadcasting, it includes telecasting. Cold storage facility, which we saw in specified business under 35 AD, that also will come under this. Carriage of goods or passengers other than Indian Railways. Anything carriage of goods or passengers, if you are hiring a lorry, if you are hiring goods carriage, if you are hiring FedEx plane to carry your stuff, goods, yes, definitely it will come. Catering services, it will come. Transportation of gas or petroleum stuff also will come. If you are manufacturing any product as per the client's requirement, that also will come under 194C. Advertisement, like, any advertisement which is hosted everywhere will come for sure. And what about telecasting, broadcasting? For example, Netflix originals you would have seen. In Netflix originals, they are only the producers. They will hire a cast, crew, etc. They will tell them, boss, this is the script, this is how I want it, I am the producer, do it as per that, that's it. Now, is that a contract? Yes, because they are hiring everybody. Script, story writer, etc. 994C will come. On the other hand, Netflix buys the right of, let's say, RRR movie. Is RRR made for Netflix? No, but they have bought the Hindi rights of RRR movie. Is that a contract? No, it's an outright sale. So for outright sale, 194C will not come. Carriages, if I have hired a goods carriage of 35,000 rupees, can I pay cash? Yes, I can pay cash. Why? Because we had seen in 40A3, for goods carriages up to 35,000, no, what do you say? You can pay by cash also, no need of bank payment. However, now this section says up to 35,000 rupees, no problem, you can pay. If the individual is owning less than or equal to 10 trucks and is given a declaration and is furnished his PAN, then there is no TDS for that person. No TDS for that person. So for goods carriage, 3 conditions irrespective of the amount. I told the 35,000 only for cash purposes. You pay 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh also, no problem. No TDS. No 40A3 disallowance for payer if amount paid in cash is less than or equal to 35,000. This is connecting 40A3 and 194C. Right? So if I am paying to a goods carriage guy owning less than or equal to 10 trucks, any amount paid, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, no TDS. Provided he should own less than or equal to 10 trucks and he should give a declaration and he should furnish a PAN. Very, very simple. Goods carriage. Other than goods carriage, ship, airway, school bus and all those things, 194C will come. Because this is only talking about goods carriage, not about passenger. Manufacture of a product, on the other hand, if the materials are supplied by customer only, I will supply a jewel worth 10 lakhs and I will ask you to work on that designing. I will give you a hard jewel. You will have to work designing and give me. When you give me the bill, people used to give 14 lakh, 15 lakh bill. 5 lakh is the working charges, 10 lakh is the jewel. TDS had to be applicable on the full amount because you had not separated it. That's why the government told kindly separate. Material cost separate, work cost separate. If you separate like that and give, you will only be charging TDS on the work portion. In my example, 5 lakhs. To avoid this, this is materials customer supplied by customer. To avoid this, what people were doing, they were asking the related party to supply the jewel. If I want a jewel, I'll ask my father to supply the jewel. If I am a company, I'll ask my holding company to supply the jewel. Like that, I was doing cheating. Because in that case, no TDS. Why? Because materials are not supplied by customer. It is supplied by somebody else. So an amendment came. Even if it is supplied by an associate of the customer as defined under 40A2, then it is deemed to be material supplied by customer and same provisions will apply. But if it is supplied some random third party, so I will go to Tanishq and say I want this design. So they will buy from somebody else, they will get it designed from somebody else and they will sell it to me. What TDS? When I am paying Tanishq, should I deduct TDS? No, it's an outright sale. So that is regarding 194C. As far as gas or petroleum is concerned, let's say Indian Oil Corporation is sending the producing gas and sending the gas till your factory. Now the question is, I have hired some trucks to transport the gas. If I own the trucks, then it's sale. But if I hired the trucks, even though the trucks, I have rented the trucks out every day, but those trucks are in my premises always, they'll be in my factory always. It's as if I own the trucks, but I've taken it on a contract. Hence, the law in the court case, it was there. They said it is 194C. It is 194C. Next, coming to 194I, rent. Any person other than individual or HUF, but individual or HUF, that is big individual also has to pay 194I. Individual turnover is more than 1 crore, gross assets in profession more than 50 lakh, TDS is required. Payee will be a resident person. What is it? Rent for building, land or both, or furniture or fixtures 10%. Plant and machinery and equipment 2%. Aggregate amount should be more than 2,40,000 rupees per annum. Aggregate amount more than 2,40,000 rupees per annum. Rent. What are the adjustments in the exam? Rent can be lease, sublease, tenancy, agreement, arrangement, everything. Rent can be maintenance charges. It can be municipal taxes. Municipal taxes paid by tenant, no TDS. Municipal taxes paid by owner or included in rentals, everything 194I will come. Because municipal taxes is paid by the owner here and included in the rentals. So 194I will come on that because it's part of the rent. But municipal tax paid by tenant himself, no TDS. Then if you want to take warehousing charges, cold storage units, I already told you it will come under 194C. It will not come under 194I. But normal warehouse will come under 194I. If I have partly hired a building or land, lawmaker uses the word any land or any building, hence 194I will come. If I have paid an advance rent for 3 years, let's say every year is 6 lakh, I have paid advance rent of 6 lakh into 3, 18 lakhs, 3 years. So 1.8 lakh TDS will be apportioned across 3 years, 60,000 per annum. If rent, joint owner, rent is paid 3 lakh rupees, but it is paid 1.5 lakh to one person, 1.5 lakh to the other person, Mr. A and Mr. B, no TDS. Why? I should take per person there. Deposit, refundable deposit if I have taken, interest bearing deposit, 194I will not come, 194A will come because interest is given there. Non-interest bearing deposit, no TDS. If it's a non-refundable deposit, then 194I will come because again it is non-refundable as such, it is deemed to be rent. Airport, mall, all these, food people who hire like for example, Subway has or California Burrito has hired a space in an airport or a mall to sell their stuff, food stuff, that is 194I. On the other hand, the airlines have to pay some landing charges, parking charges to Airports Authority of India. Is that rent of land? Yes, it was D, or is it like 194C or 194I? So they said, since it involves many things, traffic services, safety services, your aeronautical communication, navigational services, it will come under 194C and not 194I. Similarly, from the passenger, they will collect something called CUTE fee, common user terminal equipment fee, then passenger service fee, metal detectors, escalator, conveyor belt, all these things. In Jet Airways case, they told it is 194C and not 194I. I am not renting the space, I am giving all these services. Similarly, there will be a house, on the house there will be a telecom tower, right? So on the telecom tower, that telecom tower is, some company owns that tower, they will be paying rent to the owner. Is it 194I? Yes. But this telecom tower, that passive infrastructure facility, they will give it to various people. They will give it to Airtel, Jio and all these people. Now is that 194I or 194C? It went to the court. They said it is renting of machinery and it will come under 194I. What rate? 2%. It will come at 2% rate. These are all the various examples you can give. Then any long-term lease, 20 years lease, 30 years lease, where you have to refund that after 20 years, then that is not rent, no TDS. Hotel accommodation. If I fix 2 rooms for 8 months at a fixed rate, regular rate, whether I come there or not come there, it's already fixed. 2 rooms already ready for me for 8 months, 194I, because regularly hired. On the other hand, if I strike a deal with you, whenever I come, you should give me this rate. I may come, I may not come also, but I will assure you I may come for around 1 month, but it's not sure. But if I come, you should give me this rate. That is arrangement for a discounted rate. No 194I will come, because it's an arrangement at the end of the day. You would have seen a lot of hoardings, billboards, etc. outside. If I had made a direct deal with the owner, then it's an advertisement contract under 194C. Otherwise, it will be like a subletting. Basically, I have taken on rent that particular billboard and I am renting it out to you. Then it will be under 194I. Zoom car, etc. Drive C, without chauffeur, without driver, without fuel, whatever self-drive vehicle if I am taking, 194I will come. On the other hand, if I am hiring Ola Cabs taxi agency, so a company enters into a contract with Ola Cabs for supplying, some 10 cabs every day to ferry their employees, that will come under 194C. Now 194IA is there. That is what, if you are buying a house in the future and if it is happening to be more than 50 lakh rupees, then you have to deduct TDS. This will be at 1% of either the sale consideration or SDV. And it should be more than 50 lakh rupees. It will be more than 50 lakh rupees. And in immobile property, rural agricultural land is not covered. Rural agricultural land is not covered, but urban agricultural land, if it is more than 50 lakh rupees, then it will be covered. 100% it will be covered. Coming to 194J. 194J is for professional, technical and managerial services. Professional, technical and managerial services. What is the rate of tax in 194J? What percentage? Let me come to that. Yeah. 2% in case of technical services, not being professional services. If it is royalty for sale, distribution or exhibition of cinematographic films, 2%. If it is engaged in the business of call center only, 2%. In any other case, 10%. So 2% only in 3 cases. Technical services, not being professional services. Second one, royalty for sale, distribution or exhibition of cinematographic films. And third one, business of call center. Then it is 2%. In all other cases, 10%. But if you see, it is also applicable for a person. 194J is also applicable for a person deductor whose income is more than 1 crore turnover or profession 50 lakh. So interesting to know, if he is hiring professional services, if he is providing professional services, hiring professional services, aggregate value less than or equal to 50 lakh, 194M will not come, 194J also will not come. But if it is more than 50 lakh, 194J will not come. But since he is a big individual, 194M will come. But if he is hiring technical services, if it is less than or equal to 50 lakh also, more than 50 lakh also, 194M will not apply. 194M will not apply. If the value of the service is more than 30,000, then 194J will apply. Because in professional service, technical service, etc., it is what? 30,000 is the amount. 30,000 in a year. Mind you, 194J is for the following payments: fee for professional services, fee for technical services, royalty for that movie, etc. Non-compete fee. Non-compete fee we had seen in 28(5)(a). That is, do not share the know-how, do not work elsewhere, work only here, be a full-time consultant. That is called non-compete fee. 28(5)(a). And any remuneration or fee or commission to a director of the company other than those covered under the head salary. This is your sitting fee. Sitting fee. What should be the amount, guys? More than 30,000. One interesting question they can ask you. Director got a sitting fee of 29,000 rupees. Will TDS apply? Director got a sitting fee of 29,000 rupees. Will TDS apply? TDS will apply because that 30,000 rupees limit is only for 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. No TDS if the amount does not exceed 30,000. Above limit is only for 1 to 4. For sitting fee, entire sum will be subject to TDS without any limits. Without any limits. Entire sum shall be subject to TDS without any limits. So professional services means legal, medical, engineering, architecture, or any profession of accountancy, etc. Will also include sports persons, umpires and referees, coaches and trainers, team physicians, event managers, etc. The payment to Arsha Bogle will be under 194J. Payment to Matthew Hayden will not be under 194J because 194J is only for residents. So payment to Matthew Hayden will be under 195, foreign taxation. Sports person, payment to Virat Kohli, 194J. Payment to Josh Butler, not under 194J. Payment to an Indian umpire, 194J. Foreign umpire, 195. So all that you need to see. So any payment made to software, etc., there will be no TDS if you have just bought the software and selling it to India. When I bought the software, I would have paid anyway TDS. Then I am selling it to other people. But if I buy the software, make some changes in it and then sell, for both the transactions, TDS will come. One, buying from abroad. Second, selling it to you, TDS will come. So that is regarding software. Then for third-party administrators like insurance companies, if HDFC Ergo is an insurance company, there will be a third-party separate service provider in the hospitals. So if you fall sick, you will have to go to the third party administrator. They will directly settle payment to the hospital. Because hospital cannot wait for longer. No, you will have to be discharged. Only if you make payment, you will be discharged. So the third party administrator will directly make payment to the hospitals and they will take money from HDFC Ergo later. The question is, when the third party administrator is making payment to the hospitals, will 194J come? Because hospital has provided what service? Professional service. This is medical service. The issue went to court, then a lot of circulars came. They said yes. Instead of insurance company, who is giving? Third party. The third party administrator has to deduct TDS while making payment to hospitals. They have to make payment to hospitals. That is regarding 194J also. Very, very simple. Then we will see certain things here. This is my $194O. Very simple. E-commerce operator, you have Amazon, etc. And in Amazon, you will have both seller as well as buyer, as we know. Seller is called as e-commerce participant. Amazon is the e-commerce operator, can be resident or non-resident, and buyer can be anybody. Now the question is, seller is selling goods and services through the e-commerce operator and then going to the buyer. Buyer will pay money and issue is closed. When the e-commerce operator is giving money to the seller, should he deduct TDS is the question. Answer is yes under 194O. Mind you, seller must be a resident in India and he is the payee. What should be transferred here? Goods and services. And e-commerce operator can be resident or non-resident. What is the TDS rate? 1% of the gross amount of sales. 1% of the gross amount of sales. Not net amount, nothing. Full. Whatever amount is sold, that full amount will come under this. So Sony India is selling TVs to Chroma and Chroma is selling to buyer. And when Chroma is making payment to Sony India, 194O will come. Sony Japan is selling TVs through Chroma and Chroma is selling to buyer and Chroma is making payment to Sony Japan, 194O will not come because the payee must be a resident in India. So here 195 will come. Sony India is selling TVs to Walmart USA. Definitely 194O will come because Walmart USA can be resident or non-resident, doesn't matter. But individual, if he is selling less than 5 lakh rupees, 194O will not come. So if an individual is selling some perfume through Amazon and it's 4,95,000 rupees, payment made to individual 4,95,000, it will not come. On the other hand, if you are a partnership firm, the exemption is only for whom? Individuals, not for partnership firm. That is the gist of 194O. Next is 194Q. 194Q is for the big buyer of the goods. For the big buyer of the goods. So, P is a seller, is a resident. He is selling goods, not services, selling goods to value more than 50 lakh to a buyer. Who's a buyer? Who's a deductor? He can be a resident or non-resident who has a permanent establishment in India. And I told you 194Q is for big buyer of goods. So turnover or gross assets from business should be more than 10 crore in the immediately preceding financial year. Big buyer. So if the seller is selling more than 50 lakh to a big buyer, TDS has to be deducted under 0.1% of the sum exceeding 50 lakh. 0.1% of the sum exceeding 50 lakh. At the time of payment or credit, whichever is earlier, 0.1% of the sum exceeding 50 lakh rupees. That is one part of the story. On the other hand, if you see TCS provisions, TCS is what? Tax collected at source. Tax collected at source. In this, when the buyer is buying and paying money, the seller has to collect then and there only and remit to the government. So we have 206C1, 1C, 1F, 1G, 1H. So 206C1 only talks about TCS at specified rates. Buyer will be any buyer except state government, central government, public sector, company, etc. Seller will be any seller, CG or SG, local authority, corporation, any company, or big sellers. Individual HF whose turnover exceeds 1 crore. Same dialogue. Now these rates you have to remember. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption, 1% if pan is furnished. Pan is not furnished, 5%. Tendu leaves, 5%, 10%. Timber obtained under a forest lease, 2.5%. Scrap, 1%. Minerals, 1%. You have to remember the rates and the amounts and the nature. 206C, 1C. This is on certain contracts. What contracts? Parking lot. Nature of contract or license, parking lot. So I will give you parking lot license to you. When you are paying the money, I should collect extra TCS. How much? 2%. Toll plaza, 2%. Mining and quarrying, 2%. Motor vehicles. Every person being a seller receives any amount as consideration for sale of motor vehicles, value exceeding 10 lakh rupees. Value exceeding 10 lakh rupees. So buyer will not include state government and all that. Now, TCS applicable only at all retail level sales. So a Mercedes manufacturer is selling to luxury motor car dealer at 400 crore. TCS under section 206C1F will not come. Luxury motor retailer is selling to Mr. PJ 80 lakhs vehicle. So yes, TCS at 1% will come for more than 10 lakhs. On the other hand, TCS is applicable on sale of any motor vehicle. They never say luxury motor vehicle. Any vehicle exceeding 10 lakh, ordinary or luxury. TCS is applicable on each sale of motor vehicle and not the aggregate value of sale during the year. So if I sell 7 lakh, no TCS. If I sell 6 lakh car, no TCS. It's not on the aggregate value, it's on each sale. But if I sell 60 lakh car, if I buy, but I give different payments, 5 lakh and 55 lakh, will TCS come on each payment? Yes. Even though this is less than 10 lakhs, you should not say TCS will not apply. TCS will apply. But if I buy different cars of less than 10 lakhs, TCS will not come. (206C1G) important. Why? Finance Act 23 has changed it. So last time ever these provisions can come is November 23. Remittance outside India and overseas tour program package. Every person being an authorized dealer who received an amount for remittance outside India from the buyer under the LRS, Liberalized Remittance Scheme of the RBI, is responsible to collect tax from the buyer. So basically guys, you are an authorized dealer. Somebody will come to you and say, I need 10 lakh rupees INR converted to US dollar. I want to go abroad. Fair enough. Up to 7 lakh, no TCS. Exceeding 7 lakh, 5% of such amount in excess of 7 lakh. Have to collect TCS, extra amount. Exceeding 7 lakh out of education loan from financial institution, then 0.5% of the amount of 7 lakh in excess of 7 lakh. So, I'll go to this authorized dealer, that is Western Union money transfer, etc., and say, give me 20 lakh education loan. In that 7 lakh, no TCS. Extra 13 lakh. Then how much TCS you have to pay? 0.5% TCS for educational loan. I am a overseas tour program package seller. I am Thomas Cook. I am Kesari Tours. I am Chariot Tours. So for them, no threshold limit. For any sum, you will give me 5 lakh rupees for your world tour. I will add 5 lakh plus 5% on it. TCS. I'll have to pay. Will you get TCS credit? Yes. This is just to government should know where you are traveling. That's why they are collecting TCS. That's all. Then comes 206C 1H. 206C 1H is also selling of goods, but here you have a big seller, not big buyer. If you see the other section was big buyer. 194Q was big buyer. Here it is big seller. Seller is exporter of goods are not covered. Seller to collect TCS. Seller can be resident or non-resident. Buyer can be resident or non-resident. Value is more than 50 lakh. There also value more than 50 lakh only. Here if you compare, here buyer was resident. Seller was resident, sorry. Buyer can be resident or non-resident. Value more than 50 lakh, goods. And big buyer. Here it is big seller. And seller can be resident, non-resident. Buyer also can be resident, non-resident, no problem. Value should be more than 50 lakh, same thing, goods. Here, who is the seller? Gross receipts or turnover from business should be more than 10 crore in the immediately preceding financial year. Buyer should not be an importer of goods. Buyer should not be state government, central government, etc. Buyer should not be local authority. Buyer can be resident or non-resident. TCS value is 0.1% of sale consideration more than 50 lakh. If TDS provisions are already applicable, then TCS will not apply.